What if I told you that the key to achieving firm, lasting erections after 60 has been sitting quietly within your own body all along? No pills, no side effects, no complicated routines. It might sound unbelievable, but it's true. I'm Dr. Jocelyn, and after over 30 years of helping men restore their sexual confidence, I've seen firsthand that the body often holds the answers we've overlooked, especially when it comes to tapping into your natural ability to perform, quite literally. Today, I'm going to show you something most men have never heard before. 3 specific points on your body that, when gently tapped before intimacy, can help awaken your arousal system, increase blood flow to the penis, and create rock-hard erections naturally and reliably. It's simple, free, and backed by both ancient acupressure traditions and modern science. And yet, most men over 60 go their entire lives without ever using it. In the next few minutes, I'll guide you step by step through these secret points and show you exactly how to tap them, when to do it, and why it works. You don't need anything but your own 2 hands and a few quiet moments before intimacy. And I'll also reveal a 90-second ritual I've taught to many of my patients, men who had almost given up on sex entirely, and how this small change reignited their desire, function, and self-respect. Now, before I show you exactly where to tap and how to do it, let's take a moment to understand why this technique works. Because when you know what's happening inside your body, you'll not only believe it, you'll feel more connected to the process. You see, as we age, especially past 60, our bodies don't respond to arousal the way they used to. It's not just about testosterone or desire. It's about how your nervous system, your circulation, and your stress levels all interact in those critical moments before intimacy. And this is where tapping becomes powerful, because by stimulating specific pressure points, you can actually send a signal to your body that says, "Relax, it's safe, let the blood flow." It's like flipping a biological switch from stress to arousal, from tension to readiness. So let's look at how this works scientifically, neurologically, and physically, and why tapping just 3 points on your body may hold the key to firmer, stronger erections without the need for medication. Let's dive in. 1. Why tapping works, the science of pressure points and sexual response. I'll be honest with you, when I first heard about tapping as a way to support erections, I was skeptical too. As a physician trained in Western medicine, my instinct was to look for prescriptions, blood panels, or clinical interventions. But over the years, after listening to my patients, researching deeply, and witnessing real results, I came to a powerful realization. Not every solution comes in a bottle. Some of the most effective answers are already inside you, waiting to be unlocked. The human body is wired for intimacy. But as we age, that wiring can become a little frayed. Blood flow slows, nerves dull, stress takes a heavier toll. And many men over 60 begin to think, maybe this is just the way it has to be now. But it's not. Not if you understand how your nervous system works and how to gently awaken it. Tapping is more than just touch. It's about communication between your mind and your body, your brain and your blood vessels. When you apply light, rhythmic pressure to specific points on the body, you stimulate nerve endings that send messages deep into your system. These signals trigger your parasympathetic nervous system, what I call the body's green light mode. It tells your muscles to relax, your heart rate to steady, your blood vessels to open. This shift is especially important for sexual function. Erections don't happen when you're stressed. They happen when you're calm, centered, and your circulation is flowing freely. Tapping helps create that internal environment, without medication, without side effects. I've seen men who were frustrated for years begin to experience change after just a few sessions. They felt more responsive, more alive, more confident. Not because their testosterone suddenly spiked, but because their bodies were finally allowed to do what they were designed to do. And now I want to show you the first point. It's one of the most powerful zones in the entire body for unlocking pelvic energy and triggering blood flow where it matters most. Most men walk around with it every day, completely unaware of the power it holds, until they tap into it. Let me show you where it is and exactly how to use it. Point 1. The CV6, Sea of Energy, lower abdomen. The first time I showed this point to a patient, a man in his early 70s, he looked at me with a mix of disbelief and quiet hope. "You mean I just tap here?" he asked, pointing below his navel. That's it? I smiled warmly, because I've heard that same question so many times before. And the answer is always yes. Yes, it really can be that simple. The CV6 point, also called the C of energy, sits just a couple of finger widths beneath your belly button. It's been used in Eastern medicine for centuries to awaken life force, but modern science is starting to catch up. This area connects directly with deep pelvic nerves and blood vessels, the very systems responsible for erectile function. When gently stimulated, this point helps direct blood flow toward the lower abdomen and groin, easing tension in the core and priming the area for sexual arousal. But beyond physiology, something emotional happens here too. Many older men carry shame or frustration in this part of the body. Years of embarrassment, of feeling like less of a man. And when they finally connect with this point, when they tap and breathe and feel the warmth begin to stir deep within, it's like something wakes up that had been sleeping for far too long. I often tell my patients, don't just tap mechanically, tap with intention. As you do it, visualize the energy moving, the blood flowing, your body remembering its strength. Tap for about a minute. Take slow, deep breaths, and just notice how your body responds. You might feel a subtle tingling or a soft heat building low in your abdomen. That's the sea of energy beginning to rise. It's a quiet power, but a deeply masculine one. You're not forcing anything, you're inviting it. And sometimes that makes all the difference. Now, if this point activates your energy, the next one does something just as vital. It calms the noise in your mind. Because even with blood flow, if anxiety hijacks the moment, everything can shut down. So let me show you the next powerful spot, a place you'd never expect to regain control, grounding, and calm before intimacy. If you're still here and this is resonating with you, just type the number 1 in the comments to let me know you're following along. Now, let's move on to the second powerful point. Point 2, the K1, bubbling spring, sole of the foot. I'll never forget one patient, George, age 68, who came to see me after years of struggling in silence. His biggest obstacle wasn't blood flow. Surprisingly, it was anxiety. Every time he got close to intimacy, his thoughts would race, his heart would pound, and his erection would disappear. He said it felt like his body and mind were in 2 different rooms. That's when I introduced him to the K1 point, and everything began to shift. This point is known as the bubbling spring, and it's found right on the sole of your foot, just beneath the ball. It may seem like an odd place to target for sexual function, but what it activates is deeply connected to the root of arousal, calm, grounded energy. You see, at this stage in life, many men are walking around with low-level tension all the time. The stress builds day after day, and when it finally matters most, when you want to be present, engaged, and strong, your nervous system is too revved up to cooperate. The K1 point speaks directly to that overactive nervous system. When you tap or press here, even gently, it sends a calming message through your entire body. It says, slow down, let go, trust the moment. When George started tapping his K1 points each night, just 20 to 30 seconds per foot, he noticed something remarkable. His thoughts slowed, his breath deepened, and his confidence started to return, little by little. There's something incredibly grounding about touching your feet before intimacy. It brings your awareness downward, away from the chatter in your head and into the strength of your body. And when you combine that with what you've already awakened through the lower abdomen, you create this powerful balance, energy rising from below and anxiety falling away beneath you. But there's one more piece to this puzzle. Because while the body responds to tapping in these lower zones, there's a surprising point high above the rest that helps bring it all together. It's a spot most men never think about, yet it holds the key to switching your brain from tension to desire. Let me show you exactly where it is and how it completes the process. Point 3, the GV20-100 meetings, top of the head. I remember a man named Richard, 72 years old, who sat across from me in my office and said, "Doc, my body's willing, but my mind just won't follow." His hands were steady, but his eyes told a deeper story, one of years spent trapped in his own thoughts, doubt creeping in before any intimate moment, robbing him of the connection he so badly craved. For men like Richard, and perhaps for you, this next point isn't just useful, it's essential. The GV20 point sits quietly at the very top of your head. It's called the 100 meetings because, in traditional medicine, it's where energy from all parts of the body is believed to converge. And as unusual as it may sound, when you gently tap this point, you're not just stimulating nerves, you're shifting your entire internal state. You're creating a moment of stillness, of presence. What I found is that most older men are carrying far more mental noise than they realize. Worry, fear, old memories, past failures, they pile up and form a kind of static that blocks arousal. Even when the body is ready, the mind can shut everything down. That's where GV20 comes in. With just 20 to 30 seconds of soft tapping right at the crown, something changes. You feel yourself come back to your body. Your breath slows, and suddenly the moment doesn't feel so intimidating anymore. It feels inviting. I often tap this point myself during long, stressful days, not for sexual reasons, but to reset, to refocus, to reconnect. When combined with the lower points, GV20 helps complete the circuit, from pelvic energy to grounded calm, and finally to mental clarity. And in intimacy, that clarity is everything. It turns performance into connection, pressure into presence. Now, imagine taking all three of these points, energy, grounding, and clarity, and combining them into one flowing practice you can do in just 90 seconds before intimacy. That's exactly what I'm going to show you next. A simple sequence that brings it all together and unlocks your body's natural readiness like never before. Stay with me. If you're still here and finding this helpful, go ahead and type the number 1 in the comments just so I know you're following along. Now, let's keep moving forward. 4. The sequence tap method before intimacy. Now that you understand the power behind each of these 3 points, the real magic happens when you bring them together. When you create a short, intentional ritual that activates your body, calms your mind, and centers your energy right before intimacy. I call it the sequence tap method. And to be honest, it's one of the most beautiful things I've witnessed older men embrace, because it's not just about technique, it becomes a practice of self-respect. This method isn't long or complicated. It takes less than 2 minutes. But in those quiet moments, something powerful unfolds. You're not rushing. You're not panicking. You're connecting with yourself, with your breath, and with the moment ahead. You start by tapping just below your belly button, awakening the sea of energy. Feel your lower body respond. Then you move to the crown of your head, the 100 meetings point, inviting your mind to slow down and meet the body where it is. Finally, you finish at the soles of your feet, tapping gently to calm the nervous system and ground your energy. 3 points, 3 steps, 3 chances to return to the strength that's always been yours. One of my patients told me he now looks forward to this practice as much as the intimacy itself. It makes me feel whole again, he said, like I'm finally in sync with myself. And that's the essence of it. The sequence tap isn't a gimmick. It's a way of giving yourself permission to feel, to lead, and to love with presence and confidence. You're not doing this for performance. You're doing it to reconnect with the version of you that never left, the man who still desires, who still feels, and who still deserves pleasure and closeness. And now I want to give you a simple plan you can follow starting tonight. Just a few small steps to help you build this into your life and begin seeing real results quickly, consistently, and naturally. Let's walk through that together. 5. What to do next. Your action plan. By now, you understand more than most men ever will about how to naturally support your sexual vitality. And the beauty is, everything you've learned, every point, every breath, every gentle tap, is already within your reach. No prescriptions required, no waiting rooms, no shame. Just you, your body, and a quiet moment of intention. So what should you do next? Begin tonight. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start by setting aside just 2 minutes before bed or before intimacy. Use the sequence tap method the same way I've guided you, CV6, GV20, K1, and take 3 deep, relaxed breaths in between each step. Allow your body to respond without pressure. Let go of expectations. What you're building isn't just a habit, it's a rhythm, a return to balance. Repeat this for the next 7 days. That's all I ask. Just 1 week. Make this a small ritual, like brushing your teeth or washing your face. And as you move through each day, pay attention, not just to your physical changes, but your emotional shifts. Are you feeling more confident, more present, more hopeful? That's the real win. Because when the mind begins to trust the body again, everything changes. You may even want to share this with your partner. Many of the men I've worked with found that opening up this part of their lives brought deeper connection, not just in bed, but in conversation, in trust, in affection. What starts with a few gentle taps often grows into something far more intimate. And if after a week you start to feel stronger, more responsive, more alive, don't stop. Keep going. Your body remembers what it was made for. Your spirit does too. Now, before we close, there's one last thing I want to share with you. It's not about techniques or pressure points. It's something deeper, a truth that every man over 60 deserves to hear, and few ever do. Stay with me. You don't want to miss this. Final thoughts: reclaiming your sexual power. If there's one thing I want you to take from everything we've shared today, it's this. Your age does not define your desire, your strength, or your right to enjoy deep, satisfying intimacy. Too many men over 60 have been quietly convinced that their best days are behind them, that fading erections or lost connection are simply the price of getting older. I don't accept that, and neither should you. You've learned something today that most men never will. You've discovered how simple, deliberate tapping on 3 key points, your lower abdomen, the crown of your head, and the soles of your feet, can help bring your body back into balance. How it can shift your nervous system from stress to arousal. How it can allow blood to flow, confidence to return, and intimacy to feel natural again. But beyond the science, beyond the technique, this is about reclaiming your identity, reclaiming the part of yourself that may have been buried under years of silence, shame, or disappointment. That part of you that still longs to feel wanted, capable, connected. And I say this not just as a doctor, but as a woman who has listened to hundreds of stories, each one different, yet all echoing the same question. Is it too late for me? And my answer every single time is no. It is never too late to come back to life. Whether you're married or single, active or hesitant, what matters now is what you choose to do next. You've got a method. You've got a plan. You've got your body, wiser, not weaker. And with just a few minutes of quiet intention, you can begin to feel change in ways you may not have thought possible. So don't walk away from this video thinking about what you've lost. Walk away thinking about what you're about to regain. Your power, your presence, your pride. This is your time. And your story isn't finished. In fact, the most intimate chapter may be just beginning. If this message spoke to you, if it gave you hope, clarity, or even just a moment of reflection, please take a second to like this video, share it with a friend, and leave a comment below. I'd love to hear what part stood out to you most, or simply type, "I'm ready," if you're taking that first step back toward confidence. Your engagement helps more men find this information, and it tells me you're out there listening and reclaiming your power. So don't stay silent. Join the conversation. You're not alone, and your story matters.